I thought it was just a harmless joke, something I could laugh off later. But instead, it was the moment I lost everything. I'm Samantha, 31 years old, and 6 months ago I had a good life. A loyal husband who adored me. A comfortable home where I never had to worry about bills. A support system that believed in us. But now, I'm alone. My husband is gone. And the worst part? Everyone thinks I deserve it. All because of one careless comment. A comment I made in front of his mother. And the second I said it, I saw it in his eyes. I had just ruined everything. Before everything fell apart, Jake was the kind of husband women say they want. He was loyal. He was kind. He was the type of man who always put me first. He wasn't the richest guy, or the most traditionally attractive, but he was a good man. He never forgot my birthday. He would wake up early to make my coffee. If I ever had a bad day, he would drop everything to cheer me up. And the truth? At some point, I stopped appreciating it. I started comparing him to the guys my friends were dating. I started wondering if I had settled. I started seeing his kindness as weakness. I told myself it didn't matter. That love wasn't about constant attraction. That he was a great husband, and that was enough. But then, I said something I could never take back. And suddenly I was the one being left behind. It happened at a family dinner. Jake's mom had invited us over for a small Sunday gathering, nothing formal, just a cozy meal with his parents and a couple of friends. The conversation was light, fun, filled with laughter. Then someone brought up relationship honesty. One of Jake's cousins jokingly asked, "Be honest, ladies do. You still find your man as attractive as you did on day one?" I smirked, rolling my eyes. Without thinking, I said, "Please, I'm not even attracted to Jake anymore." The table went silent. I felt Jake tense up next to me. His mom, who had just been serving food, froze mid-motion, her eyes widening. I immediately tried to laugh it off. "Come on, I'm just joking," I chuckled, nudging Jake's arm. But he wasn't laughing. He wasn't even looking at me. His jaw was clenched. His hands were stiff on his lap. I could feel the heat rising in the room. His mom cleared her throat, forcing a small, awkward smile. "Sweetheart, jokes like that can sting, you know." But Jake didn't wait for the conversation to move on. He stood up, quietly placed his napkin on the table, and walked out. No words, no yelling, just silence. And that's when I knew I had messed up. After that dinner, Jake wasn't the same. He wasn't angry. He wasn't shouting or arguing. He was just gone. Not physically, still came home, still slept in our bed. But emotionally, he stopped texting me first. Stopped hugging me when he walked through the door. Stopped joking around and playing with my hair like he used to. At first, I thought he was just being dramatic. That he just needed a few days to get over it. So I ignored it. I acted like nothing happened. But the distance between us kept growing. And then one night, as I climbed into bed beside him, I finally said, "Jake, are you seriously still upset about what I said at dinner?" He didn't look at me, didn't even move. Then, in a voice so calm it scared me, he said, "It wasn't just what you said, Sam. It's the fact that you meant it." And that was the moment I realized I might have lost him for good. A week later, I came home to find Jake sitting at the kitchen table. Something about the way he was sitting, back straight, hands folded, eyes blank, told me that this wasn't just another awkward silence. "We need to talk," he said. My heart started pounding. "Jake, come on. You're seriously still upset about that joke?" I scoffed, trying to play it off. But he just shook his head. "It wasn't a joke to me, Sam. It was the truth." I crossed my arms. "I was messing around. I didn't mean it like that." He exhaled slowly, staring at the table for a second before finally looking up at me. "Sam, I'm done." Those words hit me like a brick wall. "Wait, done? What do you mean? Done?" I forced a nervous laugh. "I mean, I'm leaving." "Jake, stop, you're not actually—" But then he pulled a manila envelope from the chair beside him. I already knew what it was before he even said the words. I spoke to a lawyer. I'm filing for divorce. I froze. Number. This wasn't how this was supposed to go. He was supposed to get over it. We were supposed to go back to normal. Jake, you're seriously going to throw away our marriage over one joke? I snapped. He gave a small, bitter smile. No, Sam. I'm leaving because that joke wasn't a joke. You don't love me. You just love having me around. He stood up, walked past me, and grabbed his already packed bag. And I deserve better than that. And just like that, he was gone. And I was left standing in the kitchen, staring at divorce papers, realizing that for the first time, I had pushed him too far. And there was no coming back from it. At first I told myself he'd come back. That this was just a dramatic reaction. That once he had time to cool off, he'd realize he was overreacting. But then, the texts stopped. The calls went unanswered. And I started hearing whispers from his friends, from his family, even from mine. Everyone knew what had happened. And no one and not a single person took my side. At a family gathering, I overheard his cousin say, she really thought she could humiliate him in front of his mom and still have a husband. Jake's mom? She didn't yell at me. She didn't curse me out. She just gave me a small, disappointed smile and said, I hope one day you understand what you threw away. Even my own friends didn't defend me. One of them finally admitted, Sam, you made him feel like he was nothing. What did you expect him to do? And that's when it hit me. It wasn't just that I lost him. It was that everyone around me knew I deserved it. And the worst part? They were right. After Jake left, I thought, fine. If he wants to leave, I'll just move on. I was still young, attractive, fun. I thought I could easily find someone new. So I downloaded dating apps, went out with friends, and told myself I was going to enjoy single life. But then, I started to notice something. The men I went out with weren't like Jake. They weren't kind. They weren't stable. They weren't loyal. They didn't ask about my day. They didn't care about my feelings. They only saw me as a good time, not someone to build a life with. I started talking to a guy I actually liked, someone I thought had potential. One night, over drinks, I casually mentioned, yeah, my ex-husband left me over a joke. He raised an eyebrow. What joke? I hesitated before answering. I said I wasn't attracted to him anymore, in front of his mom. His expression changed immediately. Yeah, that's not just a joke. That's messed up. By the end of the night, he had ghosted me. And suddenly, it hit me. The one man who ever truly valued me, I had humiliated him. And now? Even random men on dating apps saw me as a red flag. I had laughed at the only man who ever truly cared. And now? I was the joke. I don't get a happy ending. I don't get a second chance. Jake is gone. Not just from our home. Not just from our marriage. But from my life. And the worst part? He's thriving without me. I thought I was being funny. I thought I was being honest. But all I did was prove to him that he was never truly valued. And when a man realizes that, he doesn't argue. He doesn't fight. He just walks away. And once he does, he never looks back. So if you're listening to this, don't make the mistake I did. Because when you make a good man feel like he's not enough, he'll find someone who sees his worth. And trust me, regret is a lonely place to live. Goodbye.